So there are 3 steps in learning a language. So when we decide to learn a language, we follow 3 steps. First is of course the decision which we have made that we are going to learn this language, whether it is English or French or Spanish or Russian or Chinese, be it any language. So here we'll take English as a language. So first you have made a decision that you are going to learn English language. Second thing, the strategy or the plan which you have to come up with how to learn this language, how to learn English. So probably you can plan that, firstly, for some times or for a month or 2, I'll learn on my own. And then if I don't progress or if there is something wrong, if I need some help, then I'll go and join some tuition communication skills classes, or probably an spoken English class, or I'll join some online programs, or I'll see some videos, YouTube videos, and I'll learn. So there are a lot of things which you can do. So all these comes under planning or strategy. So you strategize everything, that how you're going to learn the language. Coming to the third and the most important part is practice. Okay, so ultimately you have made all the plans, you have started learning the language and all, but the most important thing is you have to practice to learn that language, right? Because when you decide that you want to learn English, ultimately your goal is to speak English with people, communicate in English with people, and communicate your thoughts and ideas to people in English. So that is what your ultimate goal is, and what you have decided and why you have decided to learn that language, right? So practice is very important. Now, so these are the 3 main areas or 3 things which we have to do when we plan to learn a language, okay, or when we decide to learn a language, okay, or this is a journey of learning a language basically, simply put. Now, once you decide to practice, there might be 2 things. One, if you practice more and more, whatever you're learning, you are actually executing it, you're actually practicing it, you're actually speaking it, then probably in less time you're going to learn the language, or you're going to learn to communicate the language better, or more confidently and more fluently over a period of time. But if you practice more and more. Now, what happens when you don't practice much? So you're learning that you have to do this, you have to do that, these are the things, these are the basic ideas, or these are the strategies, or these are the, plans. But if you don't execute it, if you don't actually start speaking, you won't learn the language, or you won't be able to speak the language fluently and confidently. It will take a longer period of time for you to come out of that zone and start speaking up confidently and fluently. So ultimately, the most important thing is practice. You have to practice to achieve that goal of communicating with people in English or in the language which you are learning. Okay, now we know we have to practice. Now there are lots of ways which we can practice, speaking. The first is we can learn on our own. Okay, so we have a lot of methods of learning on our own. We can do mirror talking, we can do shadowing, we can listen to podcasts and commentaries and movies and music, and a lot of stuffs are there on YouTube. You can listen to native speakers, you can practice, you can role play, you can do a lot of activities, and you can learn on your own. Okay, but learning on your own of course helps initially to become little confident. Okay, when you start speaking, when you are able to talk, you're able to describe a situation, you're able to talk on a topic for a minute or for a few minutes, then this builds up your confidence, right? And that confidence will help you to start having a conversation with others. Like, we'll start with one-on-one conversation. Okay, so for one-on-one conversation, we can start having a communication partner or a speaking partner. You can find, probably from your friends group or your colleagues or anybody you can find who is interested in learning the language, and you can start speaking, on certain topics and all. So you can find people, you can find it, the lot of apps available in the market which I've already spoken about. So you can talk to that. So you have a lot of speaking apps which has AI and you can talk to them as well. So there are lots of things which are available over net and YouTube, where, or the apps basically, where you can learn to start speaking or having one-on-one conversation. Okay, so you can find those apps and find those websites where you can start, probably there are groups which you can join where you can start speaking and interacting with people. So there are a lot of things, materials available on the internet. You can go find out and you can start practicing that. Okay, but today I'm going to talk about how you can practice or how you can have this one-on-one conversation when you're not very fluent, when you're not very confident of speaking the language. Okay, so hey guys, I'm your communications coach and your soft skill trainer by profession, and I'm here to solve all your communications problem, and I'll make sure that you learn how to communicate in English very well, or rather fluently and confidently. So let's get started. So here I'm going to talk about 7 techniques which will help you to start communicating with people or to start a conversation. Okay. So the only fear which we have in mind when talking to others is कि यार क्या बात करेंगे या कैसे बात करेंगे, राइट? कोई सामने आ जाता है तो अब बात करना, हाय हेलो तक तो हो गया, व्हाट नेक्स्ट, हाउ टू स्टार्ट अ कॉन्वर्जेशन, बात क्या करनी है आगे, तो वो दिमाग में हमारे आता नहीं है, राइट? दैट इज़ वाई हमें वो झिझक होती है, हमें वो फियर होता है, हमें वो एंग्जाइटी होती है कि यार लेट्स गेट आउट ऑफ दिस सिचुएशन, नहीं हो पाएगा हमसे, we start giving up. So instead of this, why don't we plan something कि हम कैसे conversation start कर सकते हैं. अगर वो हमारे दिमाग में पहले से हो रहेगा या हम उसकी practice कर चुके होंगे, तो it will be easier for us to start speaking in any situation, in any circumstances and with anybody, right? That will help. So let's talk about those conversation starters which will help you to have initial conversation without any fear or without losing your confidence. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is keep it simple. Keep the conversation very simple when you're talking to anybody who is there on either online, you're talking to somebody, or offline, you're speaking to somebody, you're practicing English speaking. So whenever you're practicing with anybody, you have to keep it simple. Don't worry about being perfect, okay? And don't worry about your grammatical mistakes. Forget grammar, forget being perfect. It's just that you have to communicate your ideas very clearly. So what you can do is keep it simple, means you just say hi, hello, how are you doing, and how are things. So these basic questions you can talk to anybody. ये तो questions ऐसे हैं कि वो आप किसी से भी पूछ सकते हो. So 2-3 क्वेश्चंस ऐसे तैयार रखो आप कि जब भी कोई भी कॉन्वर्जेशन स्टार्ट करना हो, आप इससे शुरुआत करो. Then the other person will also start asking you these questions. Okay, I'm fine, thank you. How are you? Right? तो इसी तरह से कॉन्वर्जेशन थोड़ी थोड़ी करके आगे बढ़ेगी. So this is the first thing. The second thing is you can give a genuine compliment. Right? तो हम जैसे बात करते हैं किसी से, पार्टी में कहीं मिले हम किसी से, या if you're talking to somebody, oh, you're wearing a nice dress, or your hairstyle looks beautiful, or your hair is beautiful, or your eyes are beautiful, anything for that matter, just make sure that the other person don't feel offended about it. Yeah, so you can just go ahead and say those things. So you can just give a genuine compliment, or your English is very good, yeah, you speak quite well. So you can give any compliment. So if you give a genuine compliment, the other person will also appreciate it, acknowledge it, will be happy about it, and then the other person will also start speaking to you. Okay, so this is another way where you can start the conversation, okay, by giving a compliment. So coming to third one, yes, this is the most exciting thing. You can always, the third point which I am going to talk about is talk about food. This is the easiest way you can connect with people. See, if you have want to have a conversation with people, you have to connect with people. ऐसा लगना चाहिए कि आप जो बात कर रहे हो सामने वाला भी इंटरेस्टेड है वो बात करने में आपसे, राइट. सिंपल बेसिक चीज़ें पूछोगे, ऑब्वियसली वो भी जवाब मिल जाएगा आपको, एंड देन द कॉन्वर्जेशन विल गो ऑन. सेकेंड चीज़ मैंने जैसे बोली आपको कि कॉम्प्लीमेंट दोगे आप किसी को, तो ऑब्वियसली यू नो कॉम्प्लीमेंट देने से भी लोग कनेक्ट फील करते हैं. ओ वाओ, ही इज़ कॉम्प्लीमेंटिंग मी और शी इज़ कॉम्प्लीमेंटिंग मी. अच्छा चलो ठीक है, यू नो चल लेट्स टॉक, राइट. यू गेट एक्साइटेड एंड यू गेट happy also, you know, so that motivates you, and then you start talking to the person. Likewise, when you talk about food, the other person will connect with you and then start talking. So you can ask the person, oh, what is your favorite cuisine, or do you like Chinese, or you know, what kind of food do you like to eat every day. So these are the topics, or these are the things which everybody, you know, of course everybody eats, everybody enjoy eating out or with family or at home also. So this is a topic which is very close to everybody and they all want to talk about it. So this is a topic which you can talk to anybody and everybody, you can discuss about this, and you'll see, you know, the other person will also get interested and you can have a conversation at length. Okay, so this is another conversation starter which is very interesting and very good to have. The fourth one is share personal experiences or stories. Okay, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैं अपना एग्जाम्पल बताती हूँ कि जब मैं पहले मैंने स्टार्ट किया था यू नो इंग्लिश में बात करना, वो क्लास में पोडियम पे मुझे बुलाया गया कि यू कैन, यू नो, इफ़ यू कैन टॉक अबाउट समथिंग अबाउट योर हॉबी और समथिंग टू एवरीबडी. And when I went there, I was so nervous that I couldn't utter a word, and I was so embarrassed. And I came back. I just said like, okay, so my hobby is like painting. It's just that this one word I said, and I came back, and that also I was fumbling there, so I couldn't even speak correctly. So this is one incident in my life which I still remember, and I really feel very proud that I'm out of that situation, and today I'm able to speak to people. Right. So this is how you can just share your experience. So the fifth point is find a common ground. We all have some hobbies. We all enjoy doing something. So try to find that common ground so that you can talk at length on that. Okay. You can ask simply by saying, what is your hobby? What do you enjoy doing in your free time? Okay. So a lot of people like कुकिंग, किसी को स्पोर्ट्स खेलना पसंद होता है, किसी को आर्ट्स एंड क्राफ्ट्स का शौक़ होता है, किसी को बुक्स पढ़ना पसंद होता है, किसी को मूवीज़ देखना पसंद होता है, यू नो, घूमना पसंद होता है. लॉट्स ऑफ एक्टिविटीज़ विच पीपल लव डूइंग. सो जस्ट स्टार्ट आस्किंग कि क्या, यू नो, क्या उनको पसंद है, क्या ना पसंद है, एंड देन फाइंड अ कॉमन ग्राउंड. आप भी अपना कुछ, यू नो, ऐसा ढूंढ लो जिसमें आपको भी इंटरेस्ट हो. सो प्रॉब्ली द अदर पर्सन सेड कि आई लव कुकिंग ड्यूरिंग माई फ्री टाइम. You also start saying, oh, what do you like to cook? I am also a good chef. You know, ऐसे करके आप आगे conversation बढ़ा सकते हो. This is also very interesting and good way of, you know, starting a conversation. Coming to the sixth point is always ask open-ended questions. Now, what is this open-ended questions? Open-ended questions ये होता है कि आप yes या no में जवाब जिसका नहीं होता है, that is an open-ended question. Probably if you ask, do you have a hobby? So the other person will say, yes, I have a hobby. No, don't ask this question. You say, what is your hobby? Then the other person will say, oh, my hobby is doing this, that, and so on. So always ask open-ended questions जिसका जवाब कोई दे सके. Yes या no नहीं हो जिसका जवाब probably. So that is a open-ended question. So always start asking open-ended questions. Last and the least is sit back and listen. Yes, it is very important. So when somebody, if you have asked a question and the other person is replying to your question, you always, you know, sit calmly and listen. You just make it a point that the other person feels that, you know, you are listening and you are, you know, engaging or you're connecting with the other person. So make gestures like, oh yeah, good. You know, just try to get into the conversation. Don't make a blunt face and sit like this and just look at the other person. No. Okay, so you relax and listen to the person, and then when you listen to it, you respond also, and then you can ask further questions also. So this will make sure the other person also feels that, oh, okay, you are interested in my conversation, or you are interested in listening to me, right? So this will create a bond, and then you can talk, or you can have many conversations. Okay, you'll get that space to have conversations, you will not be uncomfortable in that situation. Okay, so guys, these are the 7 tips or 7 conversation starters which are very easy and very simple, and you can always practice and then start speaking. This is no rocket science. You can enjoy the conversation. You will start feeling confident about talking to people if you start speaking like this, if you take these points and you start speaking on these lines. So guys, stay tuned, watch my other videos, and take care. Happy learning. Bye bye.